Before I go on in this demo and show you how cool the blend tool is, keep in mind this is homework that you should have saved. I forgot to add that in at the very end of the previous video. So make sure anything you're doing for this class, if you're in one of my classes, you're saving your work. Okay, I just forgot to mention that at the end, so make sure you have gone to Save As, you named it your last name, first name, draw inside, or draw inside mode. Okay, you are going to turn in these two logos, so don't forget to save that file. Sorry, I'm human, I forgot to mention it. All right, I'm going to close that out. Now let's talk about your blend tool. I'm going to go to File and Open. And one of the other things to learn how the program works is to look for what other people are doing with Illustrator. This demo is going to be a perfect example. On my desktop, I find Illustrator Chapter 9, and I have 9.3, the blend tool. I'm going to open up this file, and it's based off of a poster that I saw in the window at Taco Bell. Just driving around, I've used these programs enough that I can just glance at a poster and say, oh, cool, the blend tool. I know how they did that. And I want to show you how they did that. Okay, it's one thing to look at it, but it's really cool if you know how you could create it. So what I'm going to do is I'll show you right here. I took my pen tool and I traced right down the middle of the line. Okay, you'll also notice when I zoom in, the line has a rounded stroke. Okay, if you have a corner, it's got a rounded corner. So I'll Option or Alt click with my zoom tool. I'll zoom back out. And then to keep drawing with those rounded corners and rounded ends, I just take my black arrow and I click. Now my stroke panel will record what I did with that last line. So that's perfect. Okay, I'm going to zoom back in. And just for this demo, I'm going to do the first 3 lines. I'm not going to bore you with drawing everything. You will draw everything. I'm just going to do the first 3 lines just to kind of show you how it works. So I'm going to take my pen tool. I've got a stroke, so I click inside the edge and just inside the edge right there. Because remember, when you eventually take your black arrow and you thicken up that stroke, it will keep expanding outward like that. Okay, so just keep that in mind. You draw just inside the edges. I'll take my pen tool, Command click outside on a Mac, that's Control click on a PC to deselect that line. And if there's a little bump, that means you slightly go over the edge. Click, click, Command click. I can see a little bump right there, so I'm going to start right about here. Up, over, down the side, across the bottom. I'll go up, click. Now I'll come down before the turn, click and drag, click and drag, click and drag. Command click on a Mac or Control click on a PC. And now I'll start right here. It goes up, over, don't hit that point. Go right above the point and then cross over to the bottom just so those lines look like they meet right there. Okay, I'll do the same thing right here. Option or Alt key for a copy. Or I'm sorry, not for a copy, for a corner. Then I'll go around here. I'll go up, stop, Option or Alt key for a corner. Then I'm going to come down the side, across the bottom, around, and up to there. Okay, the longer I can make a continuous line, the better. I couldn't stop here and then go around because then I'd have to cut across that line, so that's fine. Command click or Control click on a PC, and now I'll just start right here and go up, and over and down the side, around the bottom and back to the start. Right there. Command click on my Mac, control click on a PC, and now we'll do the word win. Click and drag up. Right before the sharp turn, right after that sharp turn, down here, before the sharp turn, right after that sharp turn, click and drag up. Option or Alt key for a corner will come down before the sharp turn, right after the sharp turn, and I'll end right about there. Command click, then I'll just go click, click. Remember, we'll eventually make a thicker line, so it's going to expand past that. So you always want to keep your tip of your line kind of inside the edge. So again, inside the edge, I'll click and drag down. Before a sharp turn, right after a sharp turn, come up. Option or Alt click for a corner, or Option or Alt key, and I'll drag, because I want to start that off as a little bent curve right there. Option or Alt key for a corner, click and drag, because I want to make this curve before a sharp turn, coming around a sharp turn, and again down here, before a sharp turn, coming around a sharp turn, and we'll go up and over. And you know what? I'm having too much fun. I'm going to command click or control click, and I'm going to do the whole thing. It's easier than I thought. So let's do it again. You know what? I want to cheat. I'm going to take my black arrow, click on this W, and now hold Option or Alt key for a copy. It looks like the original artist cheated too. Why draw it again and again when you could just make copies? I'll hold Option or Alt key for a copy, and we'll do it again. Cool, I know what the original artist did. They drew lazy just like me. If you see it once, don't draw it 3 times, copy it. Cool. Now let's go back to the pen tool. I'll click and drag here, go up the side, over the top, down the other side, around the bottom. I want that to look like they join, so right about there. I'll come back up, and a little bit to the right. Command click on my Mac, control click on my PC, and for a straight line, you just click and click. Command click on my Mac, control click on your PC to deselect, and we'll do another one. It goes up, halfway up, right before a sharp turn, right after that sharp turn, then we'll come down here. Before the next sharp turn, right after that sharp turn, and it looks like the L has a little loop, so I'll go right here. Halfway up, very, very, very short line going around, halfway down, kind of parallel points. We'll go down. Before the sharp turn, right after the sharp turn, we'll do it again. Right there. Very short line to barely bend it. Parallel point right down there. Put a point before a sharp turn, right after a sharp turn, and at the end. Okay, I can see this little loop is a little thicker, so with my white arrow, I can just kind of push these points together a little more so they look about the same. Right about there. Oops. Okay. Click outside and we'll do the last couple letters here. So like I did on the dot with the other eye, click and click. Command click on my Mac. Click and drag. A sharp turn. I put a point before the sharp turn, right after the sharp turn. Click and drag up. Option or Alt key for a corner. I'll click and drag down. Then I'll click and drag down. Option or Alt key for a corner. I'll click and drag up. Right before a sharp turn, I put a point. Right after a sharp turn, I put a point. And the same thing down here. Right before a sharp turn, I put a point. Right after a sharp turn, I put a point, go up and slightly to the right. Command click on my Mac, control click on your PC, and then I'll just go click, click. I can click outside with my black arrow. Before you do anything else, save your progress. Okay, File menu, Save As. Last name, first name, blend, tool. I'll save it on my desktop, and I'll click Save. Okay. Now again, if I hold my space bar for my hand tool, I just want to look through these and make sure nothing looks really out of place. Like this curve on the E looks kind of bad. So with my white arrow, I can click right there, maybe pull this down a little more. So it's got a little bit more of a bend to it. And we'll move the anchor point. There we go. That looks pretty good. You want all your black lines going right down the middle as best as you can. And that looks pretty good. I'm going to hit Command 0 or Control 0 on your PC to zoom out. And then I'm going to take the black arrow and select everything. Okay, we need the lines to be as thick as these lines in the artwork. So right up here is my stroke. On the stroke panel, I've got the two middle buttons already clicked. Now I'm just going to highlight the stroke value and start hitting the up arrow until these lines become maybe 12 point. Actually, it looks a little thicker than that. Let's go 14. Let's go 13. 13 point. Looks pretty good. Doesn't have to be exactly perfect, but this first line looks good enough. I can see a little variation there. I don't care. Because in the end, nobody's going to see your scan. So who cares? Okay, we're going to go 13 point. What I'm going to do with all of those lines is make them all white. So I click on the stroke and I click on white. Okay, we want Illustrator to keep all these as one big object for this to work. Object menu, compound path, make. So now when I click outside and try to select one, they all get selected. Okay, these are not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 separate words. It's now just one big slogan. When tacos win, we all win. And I totally agree. Okay, so now what we want to do is hold your Option or Alt key, and you're going to drag this little point right up here. Hold Option or Alt, and you're going to drag that point down right to about there. Okay. Let's see that point. Okay, we want to line it up, line it up, line it up, line it up right about there. Okay. Object menu, arrange, send to back. Very important. Now this back one, it goes from a dark purple. Let's just turn off my lettering for a second. It goes from a dark purple. That's why I dragged it way down into that area. So you can kind of see that dark purple there. It's going to go from dark purple to white. So now what we need to do is check how many copies. So go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 11 copies. Okay, we'll keep that in mind. Turn on my lettering. Click on this lettering over here that we made the copy of. And let's just make it a dark purple. Kind of like what we have in the poster. Okay, you'll notice I said object arrange send to back because the purple is behind and then each one stacks on top and on top and on top and on top until the white is totally on top. So I have to send it to the back. Okay, we counted 11 steps. So now I'm going to select everything. And right down here is your eyedropper. Next to that is your blend tool. So I'm going to double click on the blend. And now I can say, instead of smooth color, I want steps. Okay, we counted 11. Let's click cancel just to make sure. I'm going to turn off my lettering because what you don't want to count is the actual original. Okay, how many in between the original white and the purple? So I think I made a mistake. Let's double check that. Let's count down here. This has a lot more shapes. I might have cut something off there. Okay, so this dark purple would be our original. So we actually have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 in between, not 11. Almost screwed that up. 10 more copies in between. So we turn it on, select everything, and now that I'm looking at that, I didn't line that up right there. Okay, that's the thing about Illustrator. You gotta be precise. So let's click here and let's move those down like that. Okay, we're lining it up with that bottom one right there. There we go. Kind of got cut off up here so I couldn't see it. All right, now I think we're good. I think we're ready to go. Select it all. By the way, you might have noticed I'm a perfectionist. Select it all. Right next to your eyedropper is your blend tool. Double click. Instead of blending smooth color, I want to create steps, which is copies. I want 10. All I have to do is click OK. Now I've got my tiny little blend tool. So here's how it works. You click similar points. So right up here is the end of the letter N. Okay, I'm going to click once right there. Then I'm going to click once right here. And it blends them. 10 extra copies. Okay. Now, if you turn off your scan and you go to View menu, Outline, those 10 copies don't actually exist yet. This is called a visual effect. So I'm going to go to View, Preview. I'll turn on my scan. And we need to make each one of these a copy that we can color. So I'll go right up here. Object, expand the blend that I'm making. I'll keep everything turned on. OK. Now I've got copy after copy after copy after copy. Object, ungroup. Now when I take my black arrow and I turn off my artwork, okay, you can make up any colors, but you can see they have white and then gold, orange, darker, 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 darker. Okay, so we could do or mimic the same thing. We have white. Now I've got another layer. We'll make that right up here. I'll mix a gold right about in there. And then I click the next one, and that goes a little more orange. Click the next one. That goes a little more reddish orange right here. Kind of like that. And then we'll click the next one. That goes even more reddish orange. And then we'll click the next one. You just keep mixing up the colors. If you forget, you can turn this off. Okay, it goes more of like a purplish orange. So let's click there. And let's go with the kind of a red. And we'll mix a little bit of cyan right there. There we go. Click right here. And we'll start going in with this kind of purple. And let's go back here. Kind of a reddish orange. And mix even more blue into that. Right there. maybe a little more red. There we go. Keep the colors. And you get the idea. Now I could click this one. It's already purple, so let's back off a little magenta and cyan right there. And let's go a little bit more magenta so it doesn't stand out too much. There we go. Then it's a little darker purple. That's good. And we'll make this one a little darker. Make this one even darker. Oops, not that much. There we go, right about there. And we'll make the final one even darker. Okay, I can see a lot of little space between here, but when I turn that off, there's no space between these. So again, I know what the original artist did. They started off with thin type for the white, but then they thickened all of these. So I can go right here. Click and drag over these lines. Oops, I missed the gold. So let's click outside. And now let's do this a more careful way. Click. Shift click, 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 shift click. Now what I want to do is set all the strokes to be the same. So I'll click this pop-up and let's make them all 10. Well, that's not thick enough, so now let's start hitting the up arrow and make them thick enough so they all kind of blend into each other like that. So let's make it about 28. I click outside, they all blend into each other. There we go. Cool. Now let's make this a poster, because we all know about clipping masks, right? Clipping masks have to be at the top. So you create a brand new layer at the top. Click outside, D for default colors, and I will go to my rectangle tool. I'm just going to start right here and drag down to there. I take my black arrow, select everything, object, clipping mask, make. You don't need your scan anymore, so I can throw that away. I don't need my lettering anymore because they all got sucked up to the top layer, so I throw that away. But this was supposed to be on a purple poster. It's hard to read the type when it just blends out to white. So here's what you have to keep in mind about clipping masks. If you use your black arrow and you click and you say purple, there we go. But I don't like that. Okay, I don't like what that's doing. So I'm going to go to Edit, Undo. What you want to do for a clipping mask is click with your white arrow. Click on the white, go right on the edge. So now you are only selecting the box. The reason why I got these weird purples is Illustrator was filling from the first point across, and it was making extra purple, which I don't want. My white arrow leaves the artwork alone and allows me to just select the box. And now I go purple. There we go. Now you can get a job doing all the marketing at Taco Bell. When tacos win, darn it, we all win. Because now we know how to do blend tools in Adobe Illustrator. And there you go. If it's lunchtime, save this file and go have a taco. If it's not lunchtime, save it anyway. Maybe go support Taco Bell because they just showed you how to use the blend tool. Or you can support me by doing excellent work in my class and moving on to the next demo. I'm getting hungry. I'll see you in the next time.